Alright, we are live again. So, oops. Okay, let's keep at it here. So, last stream we did a bunch of stuff again, as usual. Yeah, more stuff with the migrating to the grid system. We did for the notifications and the menu. And yeah, we started to build out the quest log more. We are working on the input right now, I believe. So let's go ahead and check that out. Is it in here? Probably. Yeah. Oh yeah. So we made we converted the draw stuff, and we started to make this draw quest details thing, which is not completed fully yet, but yeah, now we can start working on handle input here, which is called from the main from the game when you're in the menu, so that you can do stuff in here. And if we go to the dialogue system, we can see how we can use, well, here's update, and here we have, for example, handle choose option. So we have handle list input here. So let's copy this, because the menu, well, actually, where is the menu? So it's in the player component. So actually, let's grab the player component, and we'll switch on menu, current menu, I believe. I think that should be the only thing that we have right now. Handle input quest log, or quest log input, and we probably need the registry. Okay. This, and let's do a void, or maybe a bool. Like if you're on one of the main screens, I guess they could return a bool. So we're using this bool return as like if you return true, that means you want to exit the menu. If you return false, that means you don't want to exit the menu. And so, oh yeah, we need the player as well. And yeah, we could probably add this here as well. So this would be, let's see, what type are you? You're in menu. Yeah, that's a, so this type is player component, menu state, menu, and quest log, and then a pointer. We'll put you over there. Okay. Okay. Now, yeah, so what we need to do is we need to extend this a little bit. So this needs to have this needs to have these two properties or fields, so that we can, I mean, that probably, I mean, these two, we probably should have a state for that, really like a menu state instead. But okay, I'll do that some other time. For now, I'm just gonna use this here. Okay, so what are the different items in this menu? Well, it's gonna be the active quests. So we need the quest container and the active quests, and we need allocator. Okay. And then this is going to be the active quests length. And the current option is probably stored in here, which, yeah, currently selected quest. Okay. And then here, this is going to be set to that. When item is selected, when we accept, we are going to, we're not doing anything with the dialogue. When we accept, we will have a quest, which is going to be the active quest, current selected quest, yes. So I guess if we accept, there's a chance that this is going to be null, so we have to check if we have this. Okay, let's call it index. And wait, yeah, so I think we handled this in, wait, no, we're not accepting a quest. What am I talking about? We are, now we should set the menu. We should set this open quest, yes. Open quest is equal to, I mean, I guess we could just set it here, because if it's null, then it doesn't matter anyway. Okay, so there, so now when when this menu, when you select so this is basically when you select a quest item or an active quest from the quest log list of active quests. And when you, so you see a list of quests, one is highlighted, you press accept button, then you go in here, we set the opened quest to the currently selected quest, and that will in turn show the details menu in the end here. And if we cancel, then I think we just want to return false, because we want to back out of the thing. No event does nothing, so we'll return true for that. Actually, let's do nothing, and then we return true default as default. Okay. Yeah. And we need to fix this. So you want the player. So we have the player there. Okay. And here you can see if we return true, then we exit the menu like this. Should we return here? No, I don't think so. Okay, we'll see if we need to do that. So quest log is the only menu that we have right now, so there's nothing more to do here really. And in here, yeah, we basically go through this list. However, we might actually, so we still want to do all this, but oh yeah, we also need to defer. We need to free the actual quest list here. But what we want to do also is we might already have a quest opened. So if we have a quest opened, this is going to be then the active quests I. So that's the quest that we have. So now we're showing the quest there, and what we want to check is if we are pressing the cancel button, and if we are pressing the cancel button, then we set open quest. Oops. We want to exit the quest details menu, so we set this to null, and we return false because yeah, that's default. Wait, no, we return true here and then false. So true means we want to exit and false means we don't want to exit. Okay. So this is the menu where we have this is the quest details menu, and this is the pick a quest from the item from the list menu. And we don't actually need to fetch this quest actually, so we don't actually need that. We just need to check if it's not equal to null. Yeah. Okay. So now let's check here. When we draw the thing, we actually get the open quest, and then we draw the quest details for that quest. But we've not done that complete yet. But we can test this now and see how it looks. Let me see if the controller works. No, still doesn't work. Not sure what happened to that. Okay. Yeah, so the menu. Wait. The menu doesn't open. Okay. So we press menu button. We set this to true. It goes in here. It checks if we should exit the menu. We return simply this. We are going in here first. This is the first scenario. If we cancel, we want to return true. Otherwise, we return false. So why would it exit immediately? Let's turn this off. Let's see if we can. Let's see if it opens. Okay, it does open. But we don't have any quests right now. We can talk to this guy and get a quest. And there's the quest, and we can look at this quest. Oh, and we don't have that symbol there. Yeah, that's the quest. Maybe the title should be like one row below or something. But okay, so this actually exits immediately for some reason. Yeah, it should be going in here, and does it cancel immediately? Oh, it probably cancels. Okay, yeah. So I made this weird sort of logic here, which I was not sure about. So if we don't have any items in the list, we return cancel. But that now means that we're canceling out of the entire menu. So I think we probably want to do no event. But that means also then we're stuck in an infinite loop. Well, I guess until you actually cancel. I think what we'll do is we say if length is 0, we have a separate handle here. So is cancel button pressed, then we return cancel. Else we return no event. And you can do this a little bit more terse if you want to do that. So you can do this, else no event. Okay. Can you have a no. I was thinking to get like this formatting, but okay. So I mean, I guess you could do event like this. Wait, or you can do this. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so now we should get. Now we should be able to enter the menu without it automatically exiting. If the list is 0. Okay, there we go. And we accept the quest. We have this thing. Wait, I think I'm pressing the wrong buttons here. So I'm going into the menu. This is the quest details. So I press cancel. We go back to the quest log and then back out. Okay. So let's fix this draw menu a little bit. Also, the dialogue is like huge. I'm pressing over here and it's still there. It's like it shouldn't be that large distance. Yeah, I think it's because we changed the scaling. So I need to fix that as well. I'm just gonna do it right now, real quick. It's gonna be dialogue. And do we have some sort of constant for that? No. So let's wait, this one's not used, right? So we can remove that. This one is not used either, so let's get rid of this and we can actually rename this now. Cool. That was some old code that we were not using anymore. Let's see, this is all drawing stuff. Where is handle enter dialog? So we are calling this when we are trying to enter the dialog. Yes. So we're pressing the accept button. We are checking for things. Yeah. So here is that. So we're checking for from around the center of the player, which is now 16 times 4. So this 4 is not needed anymore. 16 is the tile size. 4 is the sort of scale that we scale everything up by 4. But we don't do that in the physics system anymore. So we can actually remove this. And we should probably use a constant for the 16 as well, but that's not gonna change. I don't think the tile size is probably not gonna change from 16. Okay, so now I have to stand there to actually talk to this guy. Okay, nice. Okay, so back to this one then. So let's draw title. So I wonder if you can actually do a line break in Raylib, if that works with centering and all that. Okay, it does work, but it's not centered. Okay. I guess that makes sense because Raylib doesn't automatically, it doesn't know that we're trying to center it. So we're drawing the title. I guess I'll need subtitle as well. It's gonna be a little bit. I mean, I guess it's nice to have these functions. Subtitle. And this is gonna be like +2 then. It's basically the same thing except the position is different. Maybe we can change this to light gray. Okay. We could even change this to a different color, but yeah. Okay, so that's the subtitle. Let's make this one as well. Just convenience. There. So now we can draw a title and subtitle. Actually, this needs to be. Wait, no, it doesn't need to be that. We can pass. Wait, quest label. Okay. Yeah, and there you can see we have our title and our subtitle. And now I want to have sort of a window or a box with all the quest details or the quest description. Oh yeah, so if you enter the menu again, you get back to exactly where you were. I guess that's fine for now. We'll see. Maybe we need to reset the thing, but maybe it's nice to get back exactly where you were as well. Okay, so yeah, the details of the quest. So we do have the details. The details is we have the description here. However, how big would the box be? So let's make a rectangle. Well, let's make a position first, I think. So this would be the position of the box, sort of. We need an anchor point. Wait, where did that go? Get, yeah. So this would be, I think we'll start at the top center. And we will add 4 or, no, yes. So we have the first 2 and, okay, let's just add 3 and see where we end up here. So 3 from the top. And then that's like the top center. Okay. So what would be the size? The size would be something like, I mean, let's just do something here. Let's just do like, I don't know, 18 by 10. And then we have the rectangle is going to be from, let's do from center. So this is going to be top center plus size times only y 0.5. So that will place it at sort of the middle of the rectangle. And then we have the size. And this is 3. Okay, so now we have the rectangle of the thing, and we draw this now. There. Okay, let's see how that looks now. Okay. It could even be, I mean, it looks good from the top here. It could be slightly larger at the bottom. So let's add like 2 more. Okay. Good. Now we want to draw the text. So I think we're just gonna draw the it's just gonna be drawing the text at the position. This is gonna be top left plus 1, and the format is just gonna be, so this is just gonna be the description here straight off, and we don't do any centering or anything like that. Yeah. Okay. So the description is very simple right now. I think I'm gonna try and add some line breaks and stuff to it so we can see. Yeah, there you can see the description there. So let me go to quests, and the elder wants you to wait for 10 seconds. What will happen? Okay. Oops. Yeah, there you can see you got line breaks. Why is this? Okay, the line break is a little bit weird. It looks like it doesn't really break for the full amount here. Yeah, it looks like it goes up into the thing here a little bit. So let's go to main. This is where we load the font somewhere, I think, or here. Oh yeah. Can we actually divide this by 2? 36. I just want to see how the font looks. Yeah, you still get this weird artifact stuff. It looks a bit worse now, I think. Yeah. But the spacing almost is a little bit better, actually. This is really weird. I don't understand this, but... And now you can do this half again. So this would be 15 plus 3, 18. I don't know what would be a good... amount. Okay, that now we got rid of the artifacts, but it's a little, now it's a little bit like smoothed out. I don't understand why it does that. Okay, I guess we'll have to live with this for now. I'm gonna fix the fonts, as I've said. But this... Wait, or... Oh yeah, so this is like a small W. Okay, so that's why it looks so different here. Okay. Okay, anyway. Yeah, so I'm gonna fix the font. I've said this before, but I'm probably gonna either make my own font or extend this font with more letters and symbols and stuff, what I need. And then make like an image out of it with like padding, so we don't get those weird artifacts. And also, yeah, that will, I think that would mean that we need to make our own like draw text function, which will do all that stuff. I mean, it shouldn't be that hard. It's just a bit tedious to make the font and our own like draw text function and stuff. But in theory, it should be pretty simple. You should. It's just gonna be like a map of these characters to like a position in the bitmap, in like the image. Yeah, so it's basically just like a tile set. You select what tiles you need to bother with. Okay, but anyway, yeah. The font stuff has not been that fun to deal with, but let's forget about that for now. That's gonna be some work later. Okay, but anyway, so now, okay, yeah, so now we actually have the yeah, we can choose the quest, we can look at the quest details, and we also have the input there. So nice, we've got a lot of things done for the UI stuff. Now, what next? Oh yeah, we have this button stuff. So I did actually make some icons for this. So we could actually implement these things. Okay, let's do that. So the idea here is that we have, you know, this dialog window, and I press this one, which is a longer dialogue. So you start this conversation here. Well, for one thing, I want sort of an animation for the text as well, and sound effects and all that. But another thing that I want is to have some sort of icon over here that shows that you press sort of the accept button to go to the next page of text. And then you do that. So wait. Okay, so this has stopped working for some reason. Wait, did it start to crash there? No? Okay. So for some reason the dialogue, so when you enter or when you do this doesn't work anymore. is that? It should be the same button logic. So we should go to the next page. Yes. Why doesn't it do that? So draw active. Get current text. I'm pretty sure this. Yeah, I mean either it's supposed to advance the dialogue. Nothing's happening here. That's strange. It's supposed to advance the dialogue or exit the dialogue if. Yeah. So it should go in here. Oh, you know what? Wait. Oh wait, this is only for responses. Oh, okay. So actually, right. This should only be for when you're trying to respond. So we should have an if here. If we are at the last page and we have responses to give, then we do this whole thing here. Okay. And yeah, we are doing choose response. Okay, yeah. Wait. Otherwise, so let's see. So, right, yeah. So we are handling the response, yeah. And then we don't need to do this. Okay. Else, we say if is accept input pressed. We say if we are at the last page, then we do dialogue is no. So then we exit dialogue. Otherwise, we go to the next page. Okay. And we also check for cancel. Then we also quit the whole dialogue. I think when you press cancel, you probably want to go through the dialogue and not like exit out of the entire dialogue tree, because yeah, that's usually how things works. No field name, no wait, no oh yeah. Okay. Now this should work, hopefully. There we go. So now we can do that. We can also press cancel at any time to cancel out of the entire dialogue. Okay. So yes. So anyway, what I was saying is I want an icon here which shows now you can press the next. Well, when you press the accept key, you get to the next thing. Here's the same thing here. And then at the end, it will show a different icon so that you know that now the conversation has ended, or it's going to end. So you press this button, or you press the button again to end the conversation. Okay, I'm also going to disable the notification of the area, so we don't see that all the time here. There we go. Okay, so How do we do that? Well, we do have draw active dialog, and we have this dialog rectangle, and we draw the text in that rectangle, and this thing, we could actually use this thing here. So if we are at the last page and we don't have any responses, which is in this case here, because here's if we are at the last page and we have responses. So here is if we are at the last page and we don't have responses, then we want to draw the end conversation icon. Otherwise, we are not at the last page, so we want to draw the continue conversation icon. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, first we need to find the position of that. So I think we want to make a function here which is like draw active dialog icon, and I think we have this function get dialog rect. Yes, so we could use that. Get dialog rect. Okay, and now we can say the anchor point is going to be at the bottom right. So this is going to be the position of this icon is bottom right. And then we want to add, let's do -16 plus, wait, -1 plus 1. This is in grid coordinates. So -1 tile and then +1 y. Well, actually it's not going to be +1 y. It's going to be -half and then -1.5. I want it to be slightly inwards of the dialogue, but then on the edge of the dialogue, so of the border. Let's hope that it's like visible enough, otherwise I think I have to change the color of it so it actually is visible. Okay, so there we have the position in grid coordinates, and let's grab, I think we're gonna need the draw system now. Unless, no, UI also has draw texture. Yes. Okay, so we actually could use this. So we don't need this. Well, we probably need this for getting the texture actually. So we need a texture container. And then that's going to be that. And then this is going to be this. And I will import game. Okay. And then we're gonna need the texture. It's gonna be texture container get tile set initial. Oops. Yeah. Now that's the Rayleigh texture, right? Yeah. So then let's also dereference it here, directing. So then here we can simply pass that in. So the source rectangle is going to be interesting. So we pass in the source rectangle here, because that's determining what tile or what icon you're gonna use. Actually, you know what? Let's do this as a vector, because that's basically what we need to. That's the only thing we need to have actually. So also, I think I want to make a convenience function for drawing the thing. So if we look at where this is used here, and oh, we already have this function. Let's make this function public so that we can use it everywhere. So this function actually takes a grid position and it returns the source rectangle that you need to for a specific tile in this tile set. So yeah, so the source is going to be, so this is like the source tile, and then the source rectangle is going to be get tile set source rect source tile. Okay, and the position is position, and horizontal flip is false. Okay, so this should actually draw the thing, and here we're gonna draw active dialog icon, and the vector is gonna be something we need to figure out. Okay, so I'm just gonna look this up where this is in the tile set. So I need to open up GIMP here, it's loading, and I need to open up the tile set initial version 2 even. Okay, so these things are at the bottom almost, so I know that the last thing is 21, so 20, 19, 18, 17, 16. So 16 by 20 is the continue. This 16 by 20, and then the end is 15 by 20. Okay, so that's, I guess that should be it. And then I probably want to have a little bit of animation on them as well. They sort of like bounce up and down, maybe, I don't know. But that's gonna require some more shenanigans. And there you can see, now we have this little icon here. It's sort of hidden. I mean, you don't really see it. This box is kind of large, and it's kind of small, hidden away in the corner here. But at least it's there. And then when you end, you can see it changes to this other icon to signify that it's now you're done talking. I wonder if I should have it in the middle instead of it, like in the end here. Probably either that, or change the color, or change the size, or everything above maybe. But yeah, I think we can, I mean, we can keep these comments, I guess, so that we know what it is. Okay, and the position, so let's actually do bottom center, and then we don't do any X adjustments. Well, we can do -0.5, I guess. So let's do actually this. So this will be sort of now positioned in the center. Well, yeah, this needs to be scalar. Okay. There we go. Now you can see it like in the middle, so it's a little bit more like pronounced. Oh yeah, so if it's animated, you can more clearly see it as well. So yeah, okay, but anyway, should we go for Okay, let's tick this off. So we got these things. Should we go for... Actually, I want to do something also. I want to remap some stuff. If I'm gonna use the keyboard a little bit, I want to remap this because this is driving me crazy. The attack is the same as entering a dialogue. So the so we got the UI, the accept input is not left control. I want it to be E, I think. And cancel, I'm not really sure. Let's, I guess we can do C for cancel. Sure. And then, so E is like use, I guess we could say. But the issue is now is we have menu input as well, which is also E. So the menu input, what would that be? I guess F, maybe we could say. Okay, this just to like separate attack from entering the dialogue. So now we can press E to do things, and F. I'm not sure what feels more natural to have E as use or F. Okay, it doesn't really matter as long as it's different from attack. Okay, but anyway, now that is done. Yes. Oh yeah, C is also okay. C is also enable this thing. So, but yeah, that doesn't matter. So. Right. So we did the icons. Let's see what else we have on our to-do list here. It's starting to become a lot of stuff here. Yeah, we have this one, but we don't really... Yeah. Show which dialogue options have new content or new. So my thought there is like the ones you've already seen should be like gray or something. And then the ones that have new content or new should be like bright. So yeah. So then we need to keep track. I think, let's see. Yeah, we need to keep track on which ones you have read already. So that would require extra state there. And then once a dialogue has been sort of updated or whatever, we don't really have that. We don't really have support for that. We don't really have that structure yet, though. But we could do like with that you have already like seen this thing. We could do that, I guess. We could also go for, oh yeah, so I also want to have this like starting text, like when you first talk to someone there should be like some text there. So it's basically you're entering already. It could be quite easy actually, because it's like you're entering a dialogue, so we can just reuse that functionality and then play that dialogue, and then when that dialogue is done you go back to choosing the options, or you go to this choosing the options here. But it's a little bit different from what we have right now, because at the end of this it's gonna exit the whole conversation, so it's gonna be a little bit different actually. But I think that would be a good addition. Yeah, so it could be like a special kind of text state or dialogue state, the introduction sort of thing. And then that can also be swapped out to once you have talked to someone, it could be swapped out to the next, like, so you don't get the same conversation and stuff like that. So it's, yeah, so you can change that out. Then we also, we have the sound effects. We don't have sound effects. We have text animation. We could do that. Talking, yeah, so we do have, yeah, talk sounds like, this is the same thing. Yeah. Talking animation sound while text is animating. So the idea is that the animation, well, now the talking animation is displayed like all the time, but I want the animation only to be played when you have the text animating and the sound is also playing at the same time. So it's like the text is animating, you hear the sound and you see the talking, and then you maybe press a button to speed up the thing or make it instantly be completed. Then it's like, yeah, then you sort of skip the rest, so you stop the animation and the sound. But there might be a special sound effect for that, maybe, that you like press the button or something. I'm not sure actually, but yeah, we can experiment with that. But we don't have the sound, but we could do the text animation and then add the sound once we have done that. We could implement the talking animation while the text animation is done. We could do that. So let's do 2 different talking sound while text is animating. So we can do these 2 in sub things with that. And then we also have like multi-line text. We actually do have multi-line text, but the idea here was that it was going to auto wrap the text, so you don't have to like specify exactly where the end lines are. Because if we change, for example, the font to be smaller or larger, or we change the size of the window, so basically anything that changes the real estate of the text is gonna change how much text you can fit in there, which means that we need to redo all the end lines everywhere, which is going to be a pain in the ass. So I was thinking maybe we should have like an auto check, or like it inserts end lines automatically, basically. I should probably rephrase this. So automatically wrap text. I'm not sure actually. I think maybe Raylib actually does have something for that. I'm just gonna check that real quick. Raylib wrap text. No. Or wait. Okay, so apparently there are examples of wrapping the text somewhere. Okay, so I did find an example, so I should probably check that out and use that. Word wrap. Where is that? Draw text boxed. What? Where is that? Selectable. Okay, I'm just checking this real quick here. There seems to be a lot of code to implement this though. Like why can't they just have this in the library? They have this example. It's really nice to use, like a wrap. It's such a normal use case, right? I mean, they have a bunch of other like weird stuff that you probably could easily do yourself, but this one has like a lot of logic in it. Yeah, you have to look at individual glyph widths and okay. So it wasn't as easy as I thought it would be. I mean, there is an example here, so you could just copy that and redo it in Zig, I guess. But yeah, so I guess it should be, I guess, doable. I mean, at least. So that's nice. Yeah, so I'm trying to focus on the dialogue and UI stuff, and maybe we are going to do this next then, because this feels like the most important one for now. And we also, yeah, I want to have this cursor. I don't think I actually made one yet. No, it doesn't look like that. So I need to make a cursor also. And then this one is not as important, you know, but I do want to do this. Okay, let's just do this one then. So as I said, the idea is that you would have a starting dialogue that shows up at the start of a conversation. Maybe I'll call it like starting dialogue, or because here we have like a list of options, which is the options that are sort of available, or well, actually it's going to be all the options that's ever going to be available on this NPC. And it's like it's a constant, but the state behind it can change in a way. So you can disable options, you can enable them, and they will be shown and hidden from view. But you could still activate them, so you can have hidden options that you can activate. An option is basically just a conversation, so it will show a list of text. And in the end, you can also have optional responses. So if you have accepting a quest, for example, you can have yes or no. And those responses can have different actions. You can have also like a dialogue tree where you can maybe ask a question. Like, I don't know, someone tells you that he doesn't like onions, and you can have a question that says why, and that goes to another option, that goes to another like dialogue which he's going through, which is an option. So, and then you can like ask another question perhaps, or you can accept a quest where you're trying to convince this guy to like onions or something, I don't know. And then there's also a quest action and end conversation action. So yeah, so there's, and this has a lot of like flexibility, and it can be easily extended as well. And but I think the addition of a starting dialogue, we're gonna have this here. So this could be a starting dialogue or starting option. Starting option. And this could also be just a key. And this can actually be replaced. So you can change it out. The options are supposed to be static. They're supposed to be like, you don't actually change the options, you only change like the state of the options. So you cannot add new options to the list. You can simply enable a new option that we already have in the list. But the starting option is supposed to be like replaced to be something else. Like once you got the introduction on the way, or the introduction out of the way. So the first time you talk to someone, you get the introduction dialogue. The starting option is like the introduction dialogue. Then when you're done with that, at the end of that dialogue, it can actually change. You can actually change the option to be something else. So for example, we could actually have a special action that happens when you go through that. So I don't think we have the means to do that right now, because the response, you would have to have a response for that in that case. It's like once you've actually triggered the dialogue and gone through it all, I guess, then you're gonna... Actually, that's a good point of cancelling out of the entire conversation. Is probably not a good idea, because you don't want to miss stuff. Like let's say you start this conversation. You have to go through the conversation and read the thing. If you can cancel out, that basically means we have to restart the whole conversation, and that's gonna maybe feel bad to do that. But you're not gonna miss like vital information anyway, because you're always gonna be able to talk to the person again, and then they're gonna say just the important stuff, I think. But I'm not sure if cancelling out is such a good idea, but maybe it is, I don't know. So then we have to wait until we're done with the conversation to change the starting option to something else. But how do we do that? Well, we might include that then in the option itself. So we could have a sort of action that happens at the end of the option. So end action, which could be this type, for example. Or it could be its own sort of action. But let's actually have this, because, well, I don't know. Well, you do want to have like, okay, let's actually do this. Let's do, so action union enum. Okay, now this is gonna be this thing. So the type, so this is the action. Let's actually rename this to action here. And we have an end action, and we don't really need to have an end action, so let's make that nullable. The response though should probably always have actions. Okay. Now what? So we can add an action, which is change start option or dialogue, starting dialogue. I guess we can call it starting dialogue instead. It sounds a bit better, a bit more understandable. Starting dialogue, change starting dialogue. So this would be change starting dialogue, and it has to be a thing. New starting dialogue is gonna be a key. So that's quite simple. Now I also want to have another action, which is going to be a sort of a I don't know what to call it, but it's going to be a composite. So we're going to be able to compose several actions into one action. So the idea is that, well, when we're done with this conversation, we want to do something at the end, and we might want to change the starting actions, and we want to sort of I guess we want to show the options. So show options, and that doesn't have to have anything here. Well, actually, wait, but this is an option. Oh yeah, so actually it's not show option, it's gonna be go to option. No, wait. So this is gonna be so after the start conversation, we're gonna do actually, you know what? Maybe this should actually not be an option. Maybe it should just be like a list of text. Okay, my initial thought was that because it doesn't need to have like a label, it doesn't have responses. It only has like an end action, which is changing the starting dialog. I mean, you could have that as an action anyway, I guess. And show options, what I mean by that is like, okay, go back to the starting thing, show these options that's available there, and yeah. Or maybe this whole thing should start with an option. And then these options... No, then because... Okay. I'm not sure actually. It feels like we're building the same thing into just two different flavors. Sort of. My thought was maybe we can reuse the whole option structure to actually just have one option. So instead of having these two, we have the start. So this is one option that we start with, and then the responses would be the options that are available. However, the problem with this is we don't really have the structure to modify these responses, because often you want to if you want to add new conversation options, you want to be able to do that. However, there is a point to be able to change the responses available in an sort of inner option as well. So maybe the responses should actually have state as well. But then how would you change those? No, I think it's getting too complicated here. I mean, this would simplify a little bit, I guess, here, but I think being able to change the responses, I think that becomes a little bit too complicated for this right now, at least. We might do something like that in the future, but right now I don't. Yeah, It's like we can. It sort of depends on how you it's not gonna be a game where you're gonna read a bunch. Like there's not gonna be. Well, there's gonna be a story. I already thought of a lot of like backstory and stuff, but I'm not sure how much is gonna be like in the dialogue of people. I mean, of course, you're gonna be able to talk to people and get some sort of idea of what's going on, but it's not gonna be like, you know, you're gonna read a novel and be able to choose a bunch of different options, and you know, I don't know. Okay, let's keep it like this. So it just okay. Let's actually have we could have a different structure there. So this is the starting dialogue, and what is that? So starting dialogue. So we would have a text, and when we're done, so this is like the intro text. But okay, so the idea is also that when certain things happen in the game, let's say you clear the first area or something, then the starting dialogue of people in the area in the village should change. So it's like this is supposed to be replaceable to something else. So that's why I thought that, okay, we could use options because we already have options as a sort of thing that we already have. So why not use that? And we define everything there. So everything looks the same and everything is fine. That's why I was going with that route and trying to make this very open so you can change starting dialogue. But starting dialogue is kind of special anyway. So maybe it should actually be something that is sort of replaced later. So let's just do text and replace with. So this is like if this is not null. So let's have it like this. So that you can define the starting dialogue as sort of the introductory text. And then you have replace with, so you define the starting dialogue again. But then next time it's going to be like a short version. Or something. Okay, yeah, let's do that. I would really want to have like a more generic sort of dialogue system that you don't have these super special things. But maybe even the option, maybe even this could be like, instead of being an option, it's like a dialogue, and it can be different things. So it can be the starting dialogue, it can be a thing that you choose from. Maybe it even doesn't make sense to have a label. I'm not sure. But anyway, we could have an induction, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna have responses instead. We could have changed starting dialogue. Like when you accept a quest, the person you talk about probably should say something like, yeah, how's it going with the quest or whatever, instead of the other thing. Okay. So once you accept the quest, I mean, we can still have these things. So show options though, I don't think we need that. Okay. So we could have changed starting dialogue. This one is now not a dialogue key. We're gonna do a starting dialogue instead. And then actually let's just do that. and then option. Let's just do this. Accept quest. Yeah. Okay. Okay, and then we have composite. So the idea is that you want to perhaps do several things. So this is just going to be a list of actions. Okay. Whoa. Okay, so it's probably because this is a list. This is probably okay. So this is like a recursive thing. Okay, yeah. And this also depends on itself. Okay, so you cannot have this, I guess. What if you make it a pointer? Okay, that works. So the thing is, because it's nullable, I guess the type of this would also be, so it's like infinite. But then this is also, yeah, shouldn't nullable work? Because that stops it, right? And it doesn't really work with a pointer because we're not gonna store these somewhere else. I guess you could use like a constant. Okay. Right. And then the same thing here. I guess these could be pointers. No, but now, oh yeah. So now we have a bunch of errors that we need to fix. But I think this should be good as a starting thing. It feels like we're building something very complicated for what it could be, but let's do this. It hasn't gone way overboard yet. Okay, type. Oh yeah, this is action. And then this is simply this. This is action. Alright. Right, here we have, we need starting dialog. Oops. And this is going to be starting dialog. All right. Here we have dialog options, starting dialog as well, which is going to be wait. Starting dialog. Okay. Starting dialog. Starting dialog. Starting dialog. Starting dialog. Alright, so here's the thing. So here's the starting dialog where we can implement that. So yeah, we have two lists. We have dialog options. Oh, we need to make this different order because otherwise it's going to be bad. Okay, there we go. Okay, so here we have starting dialog. So we have text, which we can just define here, and then we also have replace with, and yeah, let's just make this also something else, and then replace with. So actually, replace with. Let's do null there, and then this one should be a pointer. Oh yeah, and this should be to a const. Okay. So we can say the first text is gonna be hello there, and I don't have a name, so I'm gonna say player. How are things? How are things? So that's like okay. So this is just a test. So this will be like the first thing that it's gonna say. Then you can choose something to like a dialogue option, and then next time you talk with him, it's gonna say this thing. Okay. So that's the idea, and we don't have anything for these guys. They don't actually have option. Well, they could have so they don't have options, but they could have a starting conversation. So they could say, "Be careful out there," because they're standing in the at the edges of the village. Okay, so they could actually have a conversation with you. Well, once we've implemented it. So now let's go and wait. What's this one? Oh yeah. So now we can say here. We can say init starting dialogue. There. And here now we have some more actions that we need to do. So let's actually implement the composite action. So this one will basically be so I think handle action response or action. Yeah. Well, it's a dialogue option action. And I think we'll just move this in here, and then this would be on the action itself, and then I'm just gonna do this for now, and then we also have change starting dialogue. Okay, we have end conversation, so we need player component. Yeah, let's add. We need the registry. Let's change those. We need T. I've always put it at the end, so let's do it here as well. Okay. Now we want to handle action. Let's just pass this through here. Response.action T. Okay. So what is this option? Oh, this is going to be this. And this one is already a quest and not a type, which LSP thinks it is. All right, there we go. So the composite now we can do for C. So this is a list of actions, and we get the action. We get C action here, or, yeah. And we can do handle action. So we'll just handle them sequentially here. Break component, C action, and T. I mean, technically you could actually have multiple composite actions, I guess. But yeah, this is a nice way of doing several things at once. So we can define whatever sort of atomic actions here we want to do, and then you can actually, one response could trigger several things happening. So that's nice. Change starting dialogue. So this would go into the dialogue component and change that. So we actually need the dialogue component for this. Do we have that somewhere? This is like the dialogue state. Okay, so we actually, so this should point us to, no, we don't have the dialogue component. Well, we do have the target. So we could grab the dialogue component, I guess, from the target. We don't have target here. Option responses. Okay. So we could add the target. So let's wait. Let's do we have target there? Yeah, that's the target. So that's the sort of entity that is going to have the dialog component. So by extension we can then use that to grab the dialog component and modify it. So here's the target, and we'll pass that on here as well. Well, let's do it here. Yes. Okay. And so here we need to grab out the dialog component from the target, and then we will set the starting dialog to be, yeah, just this. Okay, yeah. No, but now this also needs target again. Action is a pointer. Right. So let's do that. Okay. No more compiler errors. It feels like we're missing a whole bunch of stuff though. So let me just double check here. So okay, so we fixed the compilers, which was to handle all the actions here, the new actions, and yeah, and then we also did these rewrites of these types here. So now we have support for these actions, but we don't have the starting dialog implemented yet. So we probably need to add a new state to the dialog. So we have this state here, which is no dialog, choose option, or active dialog. And it's not really going to be an active dialog. It's more going to be starting conversation, the starting dialogue. So we probably want to have the target. Now this is a different starting dialogue struct, but it's in a different namespace, so it's fine. So this is gonna be, yeah, we're gonna have a target, and we are going to have a page. And are we going to have the actual dialogue itself? I guess we could. It's like a convenience thing. You could get it from the target, but let's do starting dialogue. This is dialogue component. And starting dialogue. So let's make like a pointer to that. Perhaps. I mean, it doesn't have to be a pointer, I guess. Okay. Oh, now we got some stuff here. Right. So now we have a bunch of stuff. So we can do starting dialogue. And I guess, yeah, we do want, yeah, so we want to have the same sort of pattern here. So we want to have handle starting dialogue. Registries is component, and we're gonna go in here. We're gonna basically copy all. Well, actually, I want to copy this. This is more what we want to use. So handle starting dialogue. T. Why do we have T? Choose response. No, we don't need that. Okay. All right. So we don't have any responses. So we can basically kill all that. Here, we're gonna check if accept input is pressed. Then we check, are we on the last page? Then we don't want to set to no dialogue. We actually want to set this to choose option. And it's going to be this. Wait, this is going to be target, yeah. And this is not active, this is starting dialogue. And I guess we don't need the registry for that. Okay, cool. Alright, so if we are at the last page of the starting conversation, we then go into the choose option mode. Otherwise, we do the next page. So we don't really have these methods though, but we're gonna define those for convenience. And yeah, if we're canceling, we're just gonna cancel out of the thing. Also, if we are at the last page and we have a replace with, I don't know why we're not getting this thing. Oh, we need to actually go into starting dialogue. Wait, starting dialogue, yes, replace it. So if we have this, we want to replace the original starting dialogue, or this one. Maybe this should be a pointer. It's more easy to change it then, because now we need to go grab, we need to go into, well, actually it shouldn't be the pointer, it should be the dialogue component. But we could actually grab that, so we could do dialogue components And then this is gonna be yeah, we have the target here, and then this dot starting, so we do need the registry. Yeah. Okay, and then starting dialog is equal to this, which is a pointer, so let's dereference it. Wait, this should be a try get, this is a get. There we go. Okay, yeah, so if we have something to replace the starting dialog with, once we're done with it, and we like go through the last page, then we replace it with the next thing. And we also start the conversation here. I just realized that it's gonna be a problem with showing the last line of the dialogue, because we're replacing it and then we show the options. Because my idea was we're gonna show the initial dialogue, then at the last page it's gonna stay at the last page, so it's gonna draw the last page. I'm gonna choose an option or something, and then it's gonna change dialogue. Maybe it should happen at the end of the conversation instead. Yeah, that would make that part easier, but then we don't really have a way to do like end the conversation thing. Yeah, this is getting way complicated. It's just gonna. I'm just thinking how energy reducing this would be to me when I'm gonna change this stuff out later, if I'm gonna fix these issues, because this is probably gonna be an issue I want to fix or improve on. So maybe I won't actually get to this now. I mean, it's not gonna be that much, I guess, but it's just gonna be like so many different places I feel like it's that this is happening in. It's like I probably made a mistake by adding the dialogue state in the player component and not like its own thing, perhaps. Because the idea is this is like a global state. It's like, which conversation are you in? What dialogue state do you have right now? And we are in a starting dialogue state, so yeah. I mean, yeah, let's just do it this way for now. I will not show the last page, I guess. I mean, one thing I guess you could do is copy the last page and have a copy shown instead. But then you would have to manage that as well. No. No, let's not do that. So we have this thing done now. So we need to implement these functions. So we need to go in here. And we need to do like it's last page and next page. Okay, but then this is a starting dialog instead, and this one is starting dialog text and okay. Okay, so we still have a couple of places where we need to fix stuff. So we do have this one now. So we do have the input fixed now. Now we need the draw. This is kind of nice, this pattern actually, because it's like you're defining all these different like ways like different sort of modes, and you use these switches, and then the compiler tells you, oh, you have to implement this functionality for this mode. So it's like, I think it's really nice actually, the way that this works, or the way that this turns out, this workflow. So I don't have to chase all the different places where I have to implement the new stuff. It just tells me where I should go. So that, I think that's really nice. So this should be similar to this one. So let's copy that. But let's paste it here so we have the same order. And this one should be starting dialogue. Yes. So we do have it. So we don't have responses, so we don't really need to care about that. And then if we are at the last page, oh yeah, we don't draw end conversation. Well, we could draw the end conversation if we don't have any. Actually, yeah, we're drawing the end conversation if we don't have any options. So we actually need to grab the options. So we need the dialogue container as well. And we need the allocator and the component. And what is the target? So the target, so this one's going to be starting dialogue there, and that's the target. Oh yeah, we need get current text as well. There. Except this is starting dialogue instead, and this one is starting dialogue. There we go. All right. So let's go back here. Starting dialogue is last page. And if options is 0. So I guess we could have something where it's not 0. Actually, if it's last page, no, but then we exit the starting dialogue mode. Yeah, that's right. Okay. So we need to check if the options is 0. Also, we need to free that. Yeah, we're checking if we don't have any options, then we show the end conversation dialogue. If we're not at the last page, we want to show this. Actually, it could be continue conversation. Actually, yeah. Okay, sure. So that should be it actually for the starting dialogue thing. That was easy enough. And then we have this one. All right, that was easy as well. This one is used for, yeah, setting animations and stuff. Okay, cool. So I think one thing that I want to add is how we enter the dialogue. So we enter the dialogue. We used to do this now, choose option, but it should actually now be starting dialogue. And we need to populate this, so we need to populate this starting dialogue. This is going to be, do we have the, so we do have the dialogue component, and it's going to be the starting dialogue. Is this a pointer is the question? No, it's not, so that should be fine. Do we have something else here? I don't think so. Yes, we do, but that's automatically set there. Okay, and then this one automatically set to null, so fine. Okay, so now we enter the starting dialogue instead of the like choose option that we had before. And yeah, that's it actually. So let's start and see if we can talk to these soldiers. We can talk to you. Hello there, player. How are things? Who are you? Don't be silly, you know who I am. And then next time you talk to him, he says hi. And then you can cancel out and talk to him again, and he says hi. Okay, cool. So that actually works. So that was not as bloody as I thought it would be, but it's, you know, we have a bunch of complexity in the code now that... Okay, so I can actually talk to you. I think that's because, yeah, we're checking for options. So they always have, if you have a dialog component, you always have a starting dialog. So we don't need to check for options. So we can actually remove options altogether here. Okay. Alright, so now we should be able to talk to the guards, but they don't have any dialogue options, but they will have like a conversation with you at the start. So let's go and talk to this guy. There we go. Be careful out there. Okay, you're... Okay, so... Okay, so we entered... we entered choose option anyway. Oh yeah, so we're not actually checking here. We should do that. So we need to grab the options and all that. No. Options. Wait. Yeah. So we need this. We need dialog components. Where we have the dialog components. We should get it here. And what else? Oh yeah, dialog container. There. Right, so now we have options, and we need to check if we have options, or if we don't have options, then we will do dialog, no dialog, else we do this. Alright? And I believe the icon should be correct as well. Let's see. Let's talk to this guy. Be careful out there. Okay, cool. Awesome. Okay, nice. So we actually have this starting thing done. This is just a hint. Let's remove that. Yeah, it is changeable. However, with some sort of caveat, it's like not. Yeah, the starting text is the only thing that's sort of editable right now. The responses are not. So if you enter a dialog option, I guess the only way to change it would be to make it an entire, like a copy of the option, and then have that option be sort of enabled instead of the old one. So you sort of switch out the option. So it is possible to actually change the type that the responses, but then it's not modular. Let's say it's not like you can add responses and remove responses willy-nilly like that. It's gonna be like a sequence in that case. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm making sense to you. I'm in my head I'm making sense to me, but anyway, the point is that the response, yeah, this is also really complicated because I've made it so that you have a list of options, which is like what you see when you first talk to this person, and at the end of that option, like when you've gone through the whole dialogue, you get a list again, but those are responses which could have different actions tied to them. So for example, you can answer yes or no to accept a quest. You can go to a different dialogue option. So it's basically like an option, but it's a response that in disguise, or an option in disguise of a response. Or you can end the conversation entirely. But I think I probably want to have those as, I don't know. The issue becomes when you want to make them like mutable and be able to change the state of them. That's like sort of the crux of it all, because then they need to have like a unique ID, and you have a response which is deep inside some sort of dialogue tree. So I don't think we're gonna have that complexity in the dialogue system actually, but let's deal with that if we have to in the future. Right now we have this rudimentary system that is working with this simple structure. You have a starting introductory text that can be replaced, and it also can be updated when certain triggers happen. So for example, if you complete a quest, if you accept a quest, if like let's say you accept a quest and then you next time talk to someone, that person now says how's it going with the quest instead of whatever they were saying before. And when you've completed the quest, they might say thanks for helping me with this thing, how's it going, how can I help you, something like that. Or when something happens like a world event, or you trigger something in the world, sort of you're completing, or you're killing a boss and you're sort of completing an area and new things happen in the village, so you go back and then they all have like new conversations that you haven't had before. And maybe we need to change this system a little bit, because it just allows one starting text right now, but you could probably add on top of the system another list of dialogue that you will get when you talk to people again, and they have like new dialogue that you can see once you've like done stuff or trigger stuff in the world, so you don't really miss anything. Because otherwise, if you're changing the starting text, you might miss a bunch of dialogue that you wouldn't have if you like went back and talked to this guy again and again. So we probably want to have some sort of queuing mechanism or queuing feature that like queues up the bunch of dialogues that you're gonna go through so you don't miss anything. Okay, and then also any sort of information that is like important, I think is gonna end up in some sort of log, like notebook or something, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna have that, but it's like it's a possibility. If we just say okay, it's up to the player to remember these things. It's not gonna be super important stuff. Maybe someone gives you a hint to something somewhere, but then you can talk to that person to get the hint, and you can go and test the thing. I'm not sure how many like cryptic messages we're gonna have and all that, so I think we're gonna leave this for now. This is a really good starting point, and we might not need more than we have right now for like the amount of text and the amount of choices that you can have designing sort of the dialogues in the game. But if the need arises, we can just go back and extend the system. So okay, so the rest is basically more or less sort of the rest of these to-do items for the dialogue is more or less like flair, and like you have cursor for choosing option, we have show which have new content, we have sound effects, animations, and wrapping of the text. So it's not really functionally needed to work, but it's gonna be sort of a little bit of polish, which is nice to have. I think one thing that we maybe could get to is text animation. Let me just check if there's anything else UI wise that I wanna tackle here. I don't think I have anything up here. No. So we have quests. This is like almost done. So yeah, I guess quests. One thing with quests is actually, oh yeah, that's actually one thing that we should do, is the progression. So now we have a quest, we can accept the quest, but then we haven't done the whole thing yet, so that we like can complete it and turn it in and have it completed. So I think what we do is we want to have, oh actually maybe we should have like in the quest log we should have different tabs. So we have like active and completed, so you can see both. You can go back and see completed as well, or maybe the completed would end up like in the bottom or something, and they marked as completed. I don't know. Anyway, let's see. So yeah, so what I want to do is I want to go through the whole cycle of a quest. So I want to go through getting the quest that we have, completing quest we don't have. So we don't have, or and quest progression. So we have this quest, which is wait for 10 seconds. So basically, when you accept this quest, we should have a timer, and I'm not really sure how to actually implement this, because that means we should have like a state for this quest, which and where should that be stored. So we do have this progress thing, and that's the idea, like it should be stored here, and we have like different steps. And what is a progress step? So maybe we have, let's actually have this step here. Okay, so what is a step? So this should be a, this should be and this is a struct. Okay, because this is like generic stuff. And now you can have like helper methods on this as well. Okay, so let's say we have a step which is turn in, I guess. It could be to a specific NPC, and then it would say like turn in to this guy. Go back to this and report. Yeah, so we can have turn in, and then we have like the entity that you should turn into, maybe, but the entity could change. No, we don't have an entity. It should be like a unique ID. This should be like the NPC key. NPC key, do we have that? No. But we do, I think, when, let's see, NPC in it. This one is just a string, okay. It should probably be an enum as we do with the other stuff, actually. So we have like an NPC key that we can use. That's probably the play. But let's make it a, this for now. I should probably, I was thinking maybe I should define NPC key for now to just be this. Oops. And then we can like use it, and then I can just switch it out once I need to. That's probably good, actually. NPC key. Okay. And you should also be, well, this key is actually not only for NPC key, so that's actually that's gonna be an issue. Well, it's not really an issue. You could do tag name actually, but then it's like kebab case. That's gonna, okay. I mean, I guess technically you could define it as kebab case in SIG as well. But it should probably be an NPC key, and then and the same with text to container. It's like, maybe we can convert it to kebab case though. But it's probably a good idea to use this pattern anyway. So now everything has that. And let's do this public. So now this one is an NPC key. No, not this one. This one is NPC key. It's also nice to see, like, it's gonna be more like the intention of this turn into okay, so that's one step. The other step, so we're just gonna make a specialized step. So this is gonna be wait, and it's gonna be just f. Wait, let's do ends at. Okay, so that's like a time step, like a time stamp where the quest ends. Okay, I just realized something. When we're saving timestamps, we have to like modify them. We have to like subtract the current time to all those in order to get the correct timestamp, right? Because then when we start the game again, it's gonna start over at 0. Okay, I need to keep that in mind. I'll put this down in the to-do list. When saving timestamps such as ends at, we need to, so it's not going to be, I don't think that's going to be that common, but I'll just write it down. We need to subtract the current time from those timestamps in order to get the correct time from 0 next time we start the game. Okay, so I'll just write that down so I don't forget it. Okay. Alright, so we have like steps. Now this quest is gonna have 2 steps then. It's gonna have ends at. So that step ends at a certain point and then turn into, so we turn into this elder. And I think we probably want to have like some sort of description for each step as well. Yeah, we'll see what kind of like messages that we can use there. Okay, accept quest state. So this creates the state, but then we need to like copy over. Okay, yeah, so this is the issue here. We need to have the state of the steps No, this is actually not the thing. Here we should have the steps. So it's not gonna be, this is gonna be the steps, like this. And now we need NPC key. Okay. And then we need the steps. Okay, so we can define the steps here. But ends at? No. Well, I guess we'll do wait for. Yeah. Let's do that, and then this one. So now we can actually say wait for 10 seconds and then turn into elder. Yeah, and that's the steps. So now we can define the steps like this. And then okay, this is like this. There we go. I think. Wait. Discards expected slice. Oh, so it needs to be. This needs to be like a constant. There we go. Yes. Okay. So that's the steps, and then for the state, we're gonna have, I guess, progress that we had before, but this one is now. So I guess steps completed, and it's gonna be like an integer. And then we can do that as default. Okay. Right. But now the issue becomes, where do we have this state? So for example, if we have a step which is wait for, or a step which is like complete 10 of these, where do we keep that state? We have to keep it here, but we don't have the data right now to do that. So we should actually have some sort of mechanism that creates that, but that's gonna be different for each type of step. Is that possible? So my idea is that we could do steps, and then this is a step, you know, it's the same thing, but this step is a union enum, and we have wait for, which is now a timestamp, which is like it ends at that timestamp now, and then we have turn into, so that's gonna be the same. Wait, NPC key. And then I guess we also could have like steps completed. But then we do need to like copy over the progress from the other thing. So I'm not sure how that will happen. Also, do we need to allocate this? I mean, I guess it's technically possible to create different steps for each step when it's a union enum, and then we have to allocate for the amount of steps, because we're not sure how many steps it's gonna be for one quest. So we actually have to allocate that. Excuse me. I have to quit here soon. Okay. Yeah, so here we actually have to create the steps. States. We have to create the states, the step states. I mean, technically, we only have to keep track of one step at a time, right? I'm not trying to cheat my way out of this. So actually, we could have current step. Okay. Which is one of the possible types of steps. And then steps completed, we could still have this like current step index is 0. Okay, just make it more like programming. I guess it's technically they're gonna be the same thing, but so the current step is, that's like the state, yeah. Let's actually rename this to step state. Have it a bit more like differentiated. I guess this could be progress state as well. Okay, so yeah, that makes sense. You only have one state at a time, and when you increase the index, you simply go to the next state, because you're never going back, you're only going forward. And once you're done, maybe we should have like max states, but we don't really need that because we have that information in the other place. So with the quest info, with like the quest and the state together, you will know if the quest is complete or not. Well, you do have this bool also, I guess. The progress will also be able to tell you, but it's more complicated. Okay, anyway, here, now we can say progress is equal to this. That is actually quest state dot progress state. And the index should start as here, but this one needs to be then. I guess we can do a switch on the quest. Wait, we don't actually have the original quest here. We need to grab the quest. And then the quest is key. What's happening? Alright, and then we switch on quest step zero. we actually have to assert that there are steps in the quest, because otherwise quest is like a no op. So we need a registry. Makes sense. I mean, otherwise we could put the, I mean, we could just pass in the registry, whatever. We don't really need to pass in the allocator. We can just grab the allocator out here instead. Okay. Oh, we don't actually have ECS here. There we go. And this one, oh yeah, so allocator there. Wait. Okay, save. Alright, so now we have possibilities. We probably want to assert that we have more than one step though. I'm thinking of how to handle, like, if you're accepting a quest that doesn't have, we should probably have some sort of sanity check. Oh, you forgot to add steps to the quest or whatever. I don't know. Well, it's gonna crash anyway. It's gonna be like out of bounds here. So we have this step. No, what's going on here? This is not correct. Alright, so we have wait for. Now this is gonna be wait for T plus, and then this one. And what is T? Well, let's grab T here. And we need to actually put T there. We probably have T here. Okay. So that's wait for, and then we have turn into. So turn into, yeah. Simple as that. Okay, cool. We should probably put this in a separate place. So let's actually do this. Let's do an init function. So this is going to be the last thing I do, and then I have to go. So let's have an init function, and this init function produces this. And then current step state is going to be new step state. And this is going to be wait, and then we need, so we need new step state, and this is a step state, and we return this switch there, and we need a quest, and we also need the actual I mean, I guess we could just get the step itself. Okay, sure, let's get the step. Alright. So here we need the step. but the step is gonna be, so here, let's grab the quest, and then this is gonna be quest step 0. So we start at that. But now we actually have, oh, we need T as well. Yeah, now we have a way to generate a step from the sort of template into an instance or a state. Okay. And if we go back here, we can say initialize with quest T. Okay. All right. And we need, let's make a function, which now we can do next step. So we still need a quest and T, and this one, and now we need self progress state. So we can go advance to the next step. We're gonna assert that we have a next step. I guess. So first we increase the index by 1, and then we simply say this current step state is gonna be new step state, and this is gonna be quest steps current step index, and we pass T along, and there we go. All right, and we might do some sort of update as well. We need an update function. I mean, we don't really have a quest system. We probably should just have that, right? Let's just have it here, I guess. Quest system. We have a lot of other stuff here, so maybe this should all be in the quest file, or it should be like in different files in like a quest folder. But this needs to be, so we have update, and we need T at least, and probably like, yeah, we need a registry, of course. Okay, so let's get the quest container, and the quest container, do we have a way to get all active quests? Yes, we do. So let's do that. We need the allocator. So let's get quests. These ones are like active quests. Okay, and then we defer, oops, free active quests. Okay. Right, so now we have those. Now we just go through all of those, and we will switch on the progress current step state. Okay, and if this is wait for, we're gonna check if T is, or if this is less than or equal to T, that means T is larger and it has passed the timestamp. So that means this step should be completed. So we'll go here progress, and we'll say next. Oops. Next step. Actually, we could probably have a function called advance, and that should probably be here. Advance, and now this is quest state. We need these things. Okay, so we're gonna check is last step. Self index is equal to steps length wait, is last step. Yeah. So this is -1, so that means now we're at the last step. So let's do if self progress is last step. I will need the quest. Then we're actually done, so we can say is completed, is true, else progress next step. Alright, simple enough. Okay, and now instead of this we do advance there. Okay, it's weird that it doesn't complain here. I guess because we don't call this. So let's actually go here and we call that. We could probably do it at like the end, probably quest system date. We need the registry. We need T or game.t. So let's import system. Oops. Quests. All right. Now it should complain. Yeah. Okay, so now we also should have turn into, and well, if we do this, we don't really do anything because it's not. This is basically only gonna check for like timers. Turn into is gonna be done when we have a quest that actually, maybe that should be like an event or something. Not sure how I'm gonna do this, but I'm probably just gonna hook it up in the dialogue system, and you're gonna have like a special action that does it. Okay, so this one is quest info, I guess. Yeah, quest info. So this is gonna be quest info.quest. Okay. All right, so we have all of that done. Now, when we advance the quest here, I actually want to show a notification as well. And so here we can show a like a complete notification, and here we can show a like progress notification. So that's what I want to add. So where did we do that? So I think we have like notification somewhere. Is it the system that has this? Yes, but yeah, so we can call this directly notification system create notification, and we need the registry now, so we actually need to pass that here as well. Okay, and we're gonna create a notification. The duration, I'm not sure what that will be. Do we have an example? No. Wait, here we have one. 5 seconds. Let's do default notification duration, I guess. Go ahead. Okay. So duration is going to be default T. We need to pass along as well. Okay, so now we need to create this notification. So the type is going to be quest completed. Whoops. And the title is wait. Can we just do this quest label? Okay. And here we have quest progress. Yeah, let's just do that and see if it actually works. This one needs the registry now as well. Okay. Yeah, no more errors, so let's launch it. And I mean, it would be a miracle if it actually works now, but let's see. Okay. So let's wait for 10 seconds. And there we go. Quest progress, wait for 10 seconds is completed, I guess. And then we can turn it in, but we don't actually have that done. But we can actually do like quest progress. That's gonna have more than one part though. So where is that quest progression? Yeah. So we have the basic sort of structure for it, but we have like waiting for duration. Probably just gonna be example quests. I'm not sure if we're gonna have that in the game. And then we're gonna have well, turn in quest to NPC. So we don't actually have quests progression for that. Also, when we actually activate a turn-in quest, we should do something to the dialogue of that NPC so that we can actually turn in the quest. And also when we accept the quest, we should also do something with the dialogue so that you cannot accept the quest again. It will turn into like the turn in quest thing, except it's not like activated yet. Okay, cool. So we made a bunch of progress, and we're almost done with the whole cycle of quests, like accepting quests, completing quests, and turning them in. So that's really cool. And along the way, we've sort of worked out a bunch of stuff. So that's nice to actually have that working. And yeah, and we did the dialogues as well. So it's really nice to have this starting text. It feels much more completed now when you have this sort of starting text, and then you can choose a dialogue option. Yeah, and then we can actually have dialogues that don't require a dialogue option here. So that's really nice as well. Except, yeah, okay. Yeah, the collision box on this Kottefolket here is not really done. Also the camera, again, is weird. Let's just fix that real quick. I probably know how to do it right now. So let's go to load. Camera center on player, and this is not going to be negative, this is going to be positive. Okay, because we switched the camera from our custom camera to the Rayleigh camera, and this was one of the things that was left behind there. There we go. Now that works. Okay, cool. Alright, so we did a whole bunch of stuff. But that's gonna be it for this time. So I'm gonna have some more planning to do, and yeah, I need to figure out now how to proceed. I think I'm gonna start with expanding the area of the like the forest area where the monsters are, and trying to like maybe even not make the full on area that I thought I was gonna do. Maybe I'll make like a very small area, but I'll add some monsters and stuff like that, because I really want to get to more combat based things, because I really want to explore the like how the combat should be, because that's very up in the air still. And I do have some ideas that I want to try out, so that's gonna be fun. Okay, but that's gonna be it for this time. So thanks for anyone tuning in and watching, and hope you have a nice day